Very, very good. That was really, really nice. Did you breathe while you were playing? Just a little bit? Make sure you breathe a lot more. Like you're singing, like you're gonna sing. You know, that's one of the things about, I don't know if you were nervous. Were you nervous? Okay, so when I get nervous, I get really tight in here and I breathe kind of shallowly. I want to think of myself as being like a singer. So, da-da-dee-da-dee-da-dee-da. How much breath is it going to take me to get through that first measure and really take that much air in? Do you also play piano?
A little.
Okay, all right. Sometimes your left hand looks a little bit like you're playing piano, and on the piano you have to hit every note, but we get to lift notes and make sounds as well. So, in particular, your first finger will sometimes stick up. We want our left hands to look really boring. Just so boring, very little going on, fingers not raising way up. Because the left hand is just sort of the machine that, what do the fingers do? They go up and down. The arm carries the hand to different places where the fingers go up and down. The arm wiggles, but the fingers don't wiggle really, they do it because of the arm. And then occasionally a finger will have to go across the strings, but that's about it. That's like the end of their job description. So if you add to the first finger sticking straight up at the sky and then coming down, that's a little bit above its pay grade. So just keep it really, really simple. As simple and boring as you can in the left hand, so that the right hand can be the great artist and the very flamboyant sort of diva person, but the left hand is just like going up and down, going up and down, going up and down. That's it. Good. What's your favorite passage in this prelude?
The song. I like the part where
Me too. Me too. What do you think of in there?
It was kind of cool how you can like play like the same notes but go on to different strings and all.
Yeah. I have this story, this silly little story about it, but our protagonist wants to get back home and has to choose a path here. And they're like all these hallways that he or she can go down. Not really sure which one. Oh, let's try this one. Looks pretty good. Uh-oh. Dead end. Gotta go back. I'm back in that place. Let's try this one. That's it. And I get back to G major, which is home. Now, of these last chords, I do fingerings here. I think I do a different fingering every time because I can't really find one that works well to play it in tune. And it's this. It's the, which is so difficult to play in tune. So why don't you, did you see what I just did there? I kind of had to turn my pinky back towards myself, which is not good. And my third finger is collapsed inwards. I mean, I just told you to make your left hand very boring, and now I'm doing all this weird stuff. There are places where we have to do whatever is necessary to play in tune, but that's why I do some different fingerings there. Let me see. You can... No, that's not good. Sorry. So you don't have to bar. replicate that, and that's fine. But you played it so well, then it's a shame to get up here and be worried about intonation. So let's just work a little bit on this. How about since this is such a great passage, how about starting doing the whole thing?
The whole thing?
Yeah. No, just this. Yeah.
Okay.
Good. So that's sticky, isn't it? Is that you're going? You're doing 3.
Down,
Play it for me. Okay, so. So try this. So play open D on that second chord. It can work there, but just for the sake of argument, put your first finger on F sharp. Yeah, it's tricky for the bow. The bow still wants to go over to the G string, but. Good. And on that last chord, you really want to be able to hold it out as long as you can. So what do you have to do? Okay, you save bow. Think of there being, this is like a highway, and there are 3 lanes you can drive in. Have you heard this before? This is the fast lane, and this is the regular driving lane, sort of the middle lane, and here is the slow lane. This is where you're driving and you're sitting in the right lane and your blinker is on for mile after mile, and you're just driving really slowly here. So on that last chord, pressing the bow. The string is putting the brakes on because I'm so low. And I can just hang on. All right, try that. Yeah, you just have to keep moving a little bit and reach out. Reach out over there towards that window with your bow. Great. Then you can decide how long it's going to be. And it's not the bow deciding because, I got to stop there. So, you can do that. Now, how about starting at the beginning, Bridget, and let's increase, let's say you want to sing a little bit louder, a little bit more, with a little bit more resonance. You're going to have to use more bow, okay? Already better. Not pressing more, just using more bow, and on the separate notes, in my right arm, I'm feeling like I'm making a circle on the separate notes. What's your bowing again? Okay, so 3. So sort of stir things up a little bit with your right. What do you think?
Sounds bigger.
What do you all think? More resonance? Yeah. Yeah. So it takes a little bit more, I don't know, just more, not effort, but you have to be a little bit more conscientious to handle the extra bow that you're using. But if you think of it like air, you don't want to sing da 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 da. You got to keep your air moving. Wind players, do any of you play a wind instrument?
I played flute last year.
You play flute? Okay. So my understanding is that wind players, if they have a passage like, say it's a dotted eighth and then it's followed by a 16th note, they will use more air on the 16th note than the dotted eighth. Even though the dotted eighth is 3 times, the ratio of length is 3 to 1, they'll use less air on the 3 and more air on the 1 in order to get it to project. And here's a case where we've got 3, and if we do the same proportion, we'll very quickly run out of bow. So we've got to keep the bow moving on the shorter notes. And try, if you can, to keep the bow in the lower half. If you get out here, the motions are required to get a little bit awkward. Okay, try again. Keep going. Don't stop breathing. Good, Bridget. Do me a favor. At the C sharp, okay, so start there. Can you look up so that there's a straight line from the top of your head all the way down through your body? And you don't crimp it off at the neck by bending your head forward. Good. Very good. Do you hear any difference in the sound? Maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit.
Thank you. Okay. Do you have this memorized?
Kind of.
Kind of? Okay. So play from the beginning, as long as you can, by memory. And sit up really tall. And turn your head a little bit to the left, sort of the classic cellist pose. So look up, look up right there. No, that's behind you. Look at that light up there. Okay? And play from memory. Very good. Do it again and smile while you're doing it, even though you don't want to. it must feel better. It must feel like there's less resistance going on in your muscles. It's sort of like everything is lined up. But if cellists hunch, we just do, and I'm really bad about it. Being tall, it's very hard not to hunch. Just to sit up. With my head up and not down like this, but it makes it a lot harder to play. So, playing from memory is great for that, because it's hard not to hunch when we're staring at the music. That was really, really good. Do you think your memory would let you go on a little bit longer?
Maybe.
Okay, give it a shot. Whenever you're concerned about either something that's coming up or a mistake that you might have just made, smile. Okay? Don't show it on your face. Like, don't make an oops face. Don't make a I just made a mistake face. Most of the time, your audience won't know you've made a mistake unless you show them that you've made a mistake. If you smile, if you look up at the ceiling, people won't know. Bill left, but Mr. Starker used to say that when he got into trouble, he would close his eyes and lift his head up, and most of the people in the audience would think that he had just done something sublime, and the others would look up at the ceiling to see what he was staring at, and nobody would notice the mistake. And it's just it sounds like you're tricking the audience, but you're actually helping yourself to play. Because if you make a mistake, if you make a face about a mistake, that means you are acknowledging something that's already happened. And your mind is looking back at what you just did. And we have to always be thinking ahead. We've got to be moving ahead, thinking about what's coming up. It's like driving and looking in the rearview mirror about the squirrel you just almost hit. And if you stare in the rearview mirror to make sure that the squirrel is okay, you're going to hit a tree. So you got to keep looking forward. You got to keep thinking forward and hearing forward. Don't acknowledge your mistakes. Smile and go on, always. Okay? Very, very good.